So we all know that we are currently in the middle of a thick information war, and we are winning it. And by we, I mean the good guys, the patriots, those that are trying to wake up and trying to be for the people and for the society, not the global elitists, the people in power, or whoever has this evil agenda or whatever it is, right? So I'm not going to get into that sort of labeling, but we know that there's an us versus them, that there are people that are at the highest echelons of power, the ultra rich or whoever, and not all of them may be bad, but some of those, they want to instill certain agendas, certain things against us, the people. And one of the greatest existential threats to their power being taken away is Trump being quote unquote reelected. And so we all know, to those that are awake, that something else is going on behind the scenes, meaning that the election was stolen, that he established a continuity of government, there's devolution in place. This Biden guy is an actor and he's playing a part, and it looks like there's a facade of a continuity of presidential succession. He has his 4 years and so on and so forth. And so I'm not going to go down that hole, but what's being portrayed right now, for which the deep state or the Illuminati, whoever, whatever you want to call it, they are scared to death about losing power. And by information war, what I mean is that for the upcoming election, they do not want to lose the grip on social media. And this whole TikTok thing, the bill, if you read some of the details behind this bill, it's basically talking about a person subject to the direction or control of a foreign person or entity. And although this is heavily about TikTok, it's also trying to force Elon Musk and Trump to sell, what a lot of people are saying now, sell Truth Social and X, because they want to label them as under the control of a foreign person or entity in the area of maybe Putin, Trump. And so before, if you remember, we had this whole Russia, right, hoax, and all of this stuff that was obviously fake now, looking back on it in hindsight. And now they want to cry China, or even still Russia, and have people basically give away these freedoms to Biden or the bad guys behind Biden or whatever it is. And again, you have to look at it from a different angle of it all being controlled by white hats. But the perception is that they want people to figure out that, oh, wow, dig a little bit. And you can see within this realm of audience 2 reality that they are trying to get somebody else, more people other than just TikTok. And so though it is inadvertently waking up a lot of people about TikTok and it's shaking them awake, it's also, if you dig a little deeper, again, within the realm of audience 2, that, oh my goodness, they're also trying to attack and target some of these good companies. And they want to remain in the Facebooks of the world, the Metas of the world. They also want to remain in power. So as people dig deeper, they're seeing bigger things. Now, there's also a list of those that have voted for and against it. And there's a lot of things being talked about, right? So I'll highlight a couple of things that have been going viral. First of all, there's a guy named Jeff Jackson, and he's from North Carolina. And he has a large following on TikTok. Now, among the world of TikTokers and those that follow influencers, but they don't follow politics, he's a popular person on TikTok for which a lot of everyday people, and he's a Democrat, but he is being followed, and he talked about this won't go through and just various things. And then all of a sudden he goes and votes for it. And so this is getting people to then discuss, okay, maybe there's more than meets the eye. We're trying to defend him. Other people are like, nope, let's unfollow him. And they're unfollowing him in mass. And then other things for which it's like, why is it that guys like AOC on the, if you want to say hard left, are also in the same camp as MTG, Marjorie Taylor Greene, right? And a lot of people will say, yeah, they've agreed on various things. But a lot of this talk is coming of those that are opposing and those that are for the bill. And so this sort of discussion is getting more people to realize that there's more things than meets the eye. And the discussion on whether it's TikTok or other platforms, especially on Twitter, is getting crazy right now because of what they're trying to wake up to. And more people are either moving towards the Republican side, or they are moving towards the idea that, okay, there is something concerted going on with regards to, if you remember, the Hunter Biden laptop being falsely labeled as Russian disinformation, and it altering the public perception before the election, and that votes of millions of people were swayed in this favor. And so what's happening right now that people are realizing is that they're losing control, right? This is what we know, right? As those that are awake, they're losing control. They're trying to desperately cling on to this power or take it back by disguising and creating a bill like this and many other things that they're trying to do. Again, you have to think in their mind. If Trump, quote unquote, gets re-elected again, then they're done, right? They have 7 months to make this right, or else they're losing everything. They're losing their power. And so they are in their last ditch effort, their last gasp, their last breath of air to try to figure something out, because the public is now being swayed towards Trump and towards the awakened movement. They're being brought to light, and what's being fulfilled from a prophetic perspective or just godly principle perspective is that God, he's having the last say. He's taking, just like in the Old Testament, everything that the enemy is doing, and he's turning it on their head, right? You remember 2 Chronicles 20, where these people came against the people of Israel, set to ambush them. But then he turned it around and made the camps come against each other, right? Psalms talks about how God prepares a table before you, a table before his enemies, and thou anoints my head with oil. And Isaiah 54, right? No weapon that is formed against thee shall prosper. And so all these things for which God and the enemy thought it was being used for their benefit, God is turning it around on them, for which now, as we see it play out with social media and this whole space of people being, it's like the Streisand Effect, right? Where if you attempt to try to hide something or remove something, censor something, then it's going to allow people more curiosity to then investigate it, look at it, and figure it out. Because if you're trying that hard from the enemy's perspective, God is sovereign over it, for which he's using it for our good, for the movement of being awakened. So again, I'm saying this because there's a lot going on. They're losing power. They're trying to obtain it. But all of it is from a big picture perspective, trying to smear Trump, trying to smear the base, trying to smear this conspiracy movement to then try to go after and go against our whole livelihood of the media, social media, and all of these things for which they thought it would be used. And you can be tricked into thinking that, oh, it's all this Russian stuff or the Chinese stuff or this communist stuff. For you to now think that, okay, no, maybe it's something deeper than that. And a slew of people are talking about censorship control, what it means for other platforms, other websites, other apps, and they're figuring this out, because no more are they just reading a couple of articles, right? I always say you read a couple articles on the news and no one's listening to them anymore, right? They think, oh, well, we got them, right? But no, TikTok, many other platforms are speaking the truth and they're figuring out the depths. I would say we are at a far greater place than we were even 4 years ago or 8 years ago in this sort of lead up to the election, for which people are being more educated and they are being awakened more to the agenda behind what is simply given at face value, what's being talked about, projected at face value. And people are being corrected in that what you first hear is not true, right? When you first hear about the Hunter Biden stuff, there's like, oh, wow, I can't believe it. And you kind of go with the story, right? Because everybody else is talking about it. But now people are actually waiting. They're looking at a situation, a news, something that comes out. This whole thing with Kate Middleton is a great example. People are not buying it. They're not buying, obviously, with the photos and what's come out, and they're questioning things. The whole movement of being awakened is accelerating, and the enemy's plans are backfiring, waking up millions more people. And the movement is crazy right now. I'm just giving you a summary. I'm going through my For You page. Tons of influencers, tons of people are giving the same message, for which they previously were either asleep or they were kind of on the fence, or it didn't really affect them. They didn't really care. But now it's affecting their livelihood, the business, their income, and now they're saying something about it. And again, as I said in my previous video, you have to shake the bear. You have to shake an industry, a pillar. And this pillar is media, and it's affecting everybody, and it's getting people more and more awakened. And so I'm saying this because be encouraged. Even though it looks bad, I think that whatever happens with TikTok, it's going to still stay. Hopefully they don't change the ownership and the algorithm and all that stuff. And you can say what you want about it, but if it's towards the people and towards free speech and anti-censorship, then it's a good cause, because it's being used as a tool, as a platform to accelerate the Great Awakening and the mass conversions, not only to God and to Christ, but also to the idea of what your perception of reality is, like what's really going on. They tell you this is good. They tell you this is delicious. They tell you this is a good thing to put in your body or to act in a certain way, to think a certain way. But people are waking up and saying, nope, that's not what it is. It's something else. And the standard is looking at this book, right? This book is the standard. And so this is where people are moving towards. So God bless you guys. Be encouraged. It's a good time to be alive. Talk to you guys very soon.